Motorcycle Adventure Dirtbike TV, supported proudly by Adventure Spec in the UK, Rally Raid Products, Giant Loop in the United States, Adventure Moto in Australia, Pirelli Tyres, Motul Oils, RK Chains and Australian Adventure Bike magazine.
During the week, I caught up with round-the-world motorcycle adventurer and KTM890 ambassador, Paolo Cattaneo. He's been on the road for years, so let's see what he's been up to and what the future holds for him.
Paolo Cattaneo, thanks for coming on Mad TV. Great to see another world motorcycle adventurer in our midst, and we're really excited that you've come along today and just want to know what you're up to.
Well, thanks for having me. I just came back from Europe.
Yes.
And finally I'm back to Australia after 6 years of traveling around the world with an 1190.
Yes.
Which I bought from Australia.
Yeah.
And shipped to South America and so on. But now I'm here with this brand new bike, thanks to KTM Australia, and I'm gonna ride a bit of around the country.
Yeah. And you've been away. I mean, I'm very envious of all the travel you've done. So you've been away, what, more than 10 years, haven't you?
7.
Just on and off?
Yeah, yes, 7, yeah, including 2 of pandemic,
yeah.
but yes.
Yeah, 2 pandemic years, we've all had that. So you've circumnavigated Australia.
Yes.
And I saw an interesting river crossing there that looked very familiar in Western Australia.
Yeah, the Gilbert River Road, yeah, the Pentecost River.
Yeah. And you've done the length of America up to Alaska, haven't you?
Yeah, actually I went around South America. So I went up to the top part of Brazil, then all the way down to the bottom of Argentina, and then up again to Colombia.
And this was all on the 1190?
On the 1190.
Oh, wow.
And then crossed to Central America, zigzagged my way through Central America and then North America. And I did a loop on North America, so across Canada, across the United States, then back to Europe.
Yeah, well, I'm so pleased that you've come back to Australia. So what's your plan for this time in Australia?
Well, like borders allowing, I'll be riding to Tasmania.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna ride to Tasmania now, and I'll come back and fly to New Zealand.
Right, yeah.
And explore the 2 islands.
Well, there's brilliant riding in New Zealand, brilliant riding down through Tasmania, and you know, I strongly advise you go to the Victorian High Country on the way through. This bike could really carve up those roads down there. It's a brilliant place. Yeah,
I've been testing the machine on the off-road tracks in Greece through the Adventure Rally. Yes. They just had it in Greece. And yeah, the bike behaves really well, especially with knobby tires. You can actually push a bit harder.
Yeah, it's a great design of a bike and great for touring. I notice you've got some panniers on the back, but is this your setup when you go now, or do you have a tank bag and a few other things? Or
yeah, I have like this round the world panniers from Giant Loop, plus the Fandango tank bag, always from Giant Loop.
Yeah,
and a Tillamook dry bag for my clothes at the back here. Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so that's the double-ended dry bag, just across the back there.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Paolo, there's a couple of other things I just wanted to talk about. You know, your philosophy for riding, what are you seeking? Like, you've been away 7 years. I mean, you know, I used to do the trip, come home, get back into family life, get back into work. You've just kind of gone
Yeah. I kept myself pretty available to opportunities in a sense that I never really got married, or never bought a house, or never really commit to anything long term while I was living in Australia.
Yeah.
And then I got what is called burnout.
Yeah.
So kind of like focused too much onto work, and then I lost focus of why I was doing it.
Yeah.
So I decided to take a break, quit my job and travel. I gave myself a year and I said, okay, I'm just gonna travel around Australia and see if I can figure things out myself, just being by myself alone and explore this beautiful country that I've been living in for like 5 years.
Yes.
So just wanted to go and explore.
Yeah.
And yeah, the trip has been life-changing and absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
It was 40,000 Ks overall.
Wow.
With the 1190, and I've circumnavigated pretty much the whole country, went to the middle as well. So once I came back to Sydney, I couldn't stay. I was just
Wanderlust.
yeah, I was so blown away by the lifestyle that you get from traveling from place to place. And I also realized it was cheaper to live on a bike than living in Sydney. So I say, well, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So I just took off and I shipped the bike to South America. And 6 years later, I'm here now. And I thought I will be gone for like a year and a half top.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kept enjoying this lifestyle and prolong it as much as I could.
The bike, what I found when I've been on long rides, but not nearly as long as yours, is the bike is like a passport to a different lifestyle, isn't it? And you know, of those life lessons, what did you learn? Like, what are the things you say? Well, you know, I'm a different person because of motorcycling or because of the travel.
Well, the motorcycle, kind of like a bicycle, but more is an easier way to access freedom in a way. You know, it gives you this sensation of being completely independent and completely able to access any terrain and wherever you want to go. So it's a vehicle that allows you to move faster and more discreetly than a car. So you can go. You can decide to do what you want to do by yourself. You don't have to wait on anybody else, especially if you travel alone. But yeah, it's kind of like it allows you to take your inner freedom to a whole different level. So that's what I love about it, and of course the adrenaline. So I mean, KTM are renowned for having this really powerful engine, and I like that kind of feeling. So
the 890 goes.
It flies to me. I mean, it's a fast machine. I mean, it's 100 horsepower, so it's a brilliant machine. Yeah.
The grunt low down on this bike, it's such a change from the 790, isn't it? It reminds me very much of the old 990 in terms of how it throws the power down, and very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I used to ride with the LC8, which is a totally different kind of engine, more on the high end of the engine, you know, the peak torque.
Yeah.
But this one is definitely, actually stepping from the 1190 to this one, it looks like a totally different, technologically speaking, a totally different era of riding, because this electronic is much more refined and the engine is much more refined, less heat, less smoother riding. So it's definitely a pleasure to ride these machines.
Yeah, they've been, you know, if there's one thing for KTM, they just continue to evolve, and they, you know, you don't have the same brand sitting there for 10 years.
No,
it's
definitely.
Always under evolution, and it's just getting better and better.
Yeah.
Traction control settings on this, like I've noticed, that's a huge step up even from the previous model, isn't it? It's almost intuitive.
Yes, I mean, with the rally mode, you can you know, adjust the slip control, which goes from 1 to 9. And I mean, depending on the terrains, I use it a lot in Greece, for instance, where the terrains were changing all the time, like steep rocky hills or like just dust and dirt.
Yes.
So you can change the slip control accordingly to the terrain and how much you want to go as well. Yeah. So you don't have to take care of like being too violent on the throttle. The bike handles by itself, so it's definitely a game changer compared to the 1190, which had like only on and off.
Yep.
So it's progression in technology and definitely helps.
And people, you know, like although you're riding solo, you know, you're catching up with people along the way. How do you find that?
Well, that has been something that has increased gradually thanks to the internet, Instagram and stuff. You know, like at the beginning in 2015, nobody really cared about Instagram.
No.
It was like a square picture, and I was just taking a picture once in a while, just to show my family, really. I had like 500 followers or something. And then through the course of the 5 years of traveling and posting other stuff on YouTube, the trip became more popular in itself. So I started to meet people along the way, which is really pleasant. I mean, they're all usually KTM fans, so it's, we get along right away. So there's not much beef in that sense. But I do like to travel alone. So I mostly travel alone. But I did share some bits and pieces of my trip with other people. But I like to travel alone because I have my own speed and on my own way of traveling. Some people might go ride slower, or they want to stop, or they take like 3 hours to pack every morning. So I'm not like that. So I just...
You're a quick packer?
Yeah, I'm very organized because I used to be an engineer. So I like my thing to be organized, and that results in quick packing in the morning. And
so what's a comfortable day for you? How many kilometers punching out?
It's kind of hard to say because it depends where you are and depends of the road conditions and stuff. But I've spaced from 100 Ks to 1,000 Ks. You know,
right?
I've done it like 1,100 Ks once in crossing the Nullarbor. Never again. Never again. It's like a torture for your body, and there's no need to travel this kind of distances in one day.
And, and your throttle gets heavier and heavier, and in the end, you're wondering whether you're going to get a ticket or not.
Well, especially like crossing the Nullarbor, which goes from east to west. I started with the sun in my back, and then I kept riding straight, and the sun was catching up on me, and at the end I had the sun right in my face that I couldn't see anything, and you know, kangaroos start to hop in, and
that's right.
You want to stop at a certain time of the day. So but I had some very long days, like 800, 850 in Canada, United States, where like the roads are really wide and long, and so
So we've been on my channel, we've been talking about packing tips. So you're an engineer. Where do you put your heavy stuff? Where do you put your light stuff? And I'll see if it equates with my view on that.
So in this bike in particular, with the muffler, it stands on one side. That side is protruding a little bit compared to this. So you want to put the really heavy stuff or more heavier stuff on this pannier.
That's right,
And you want to keep it low, as low as possible. So if you have tools or anything that is heavy, sometimes electronics are really heavy. You want to keep it on this side and on the bottom part. And usually I keep the camping gear on the other side, which is, it stays in one of those panniers by itself, like my tent, sleeping mat, sleeping bag, cooking tools, and everything stays in one bag, because these bags are like 90 liters, so 45.
Big capacity.
Yes, this is the biggest it gets, and so I'm able to pack everything heavy in these two panniers, and so it keeps the center of gravity low. And that's what I like, and I keep just my clothes here, and
nice and light. Well, we I don't know if we've discovered that, or someone tells us that, or when I started, I had no idea of any of that. And you make these mistakes. I used to have hard panniers, and I went through the Simpson Desert with hard panniers, and I nearly snapped my ankle off with the sand pulling up. And,
it's not safe.
It's good to talk to fellow adventurers, and it's funny, we all come to this narrowing point. With this, it's mass centralisation, low, centralised, one side. It's funny.
I started myself at the beginning. So when I started to ride around Australia, it was my very first trip, long trip on a motorcycle. I used to ride since I was a little kid, but I never really went for a month trip or something like that. It was like, so I didn't know what to pack. And I think at the beginning I had like fins and stuff that I just shove underneath the bags that I had been given to. It was just basically like a pile of stuff, junk on top of the bike. Obviously top heavy, so very wrong for riding. And I reached Melbourne and I already dismissed like half of what I carried. I just left it to a friend's house, and then I went to reached Perth, and then I dropped out more stuff. So I ended up learning along the way, you know.
Well, you and me both, Paolo. You and me both. It's funny, you know, even with tools, like you never ask, well, why am I taking this tool? And how much weight is that? And what does that give me that another tool doesn't? And, you know, you've got to have those conversations. It's like the clothes. Like I started like you, I had this, you know, compost heap. And then you just gradually refine. So when you get up in the morning now, you know exactly where everything is, and you just pack, don't you? It's like boom, 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 choom, done.
So this is funny because now when I travel not on a motorcycle, I have the same kind of concept for packing. So I just pack so light and so small because I don't want to carry any weight.
No.
So this kind of lifestyle taught me also to minimize and be more minimalistic in terms of like everything else.
And while we're on weight, like this bike comes in at what, around 204 kilos, 203, nothing, or a little bit less.
It's
than that?
187 kilos dry.
Right.
3 kilos of oil and 21 of fuel.
Right.
20 of fuel.
Yeah. So, you know, the beauty of this bike is that it's light to start off with for its size and power.
Yep.
And then you're not really adding. What would you be adding to it? 20
yeah,
kilos?
25, maybe 30 kilos with the clothes and stuff.
Yeah, so you got this really light machine.
Yeah, it's...
So where are you from?
I'm from Italy originally, from the top part, so Como's Lake or Milan.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's very nice, especially for riding there. There's like all these mountain roads and very scenic.
Yeah, and so when did you get into bikes?
My uncle used to be in the motorcycle business. His family used to have a Moto Guzzi dealer and mechanic shop, workshop. So he got me into bikes. So when I think was like probably 9 or something, 10, just gave me a motorcycle just to ride around and fiddle around. And then when I was 14, which is the legal age of to get like a 50cc motorcycle, I got like, I think I was a Beta 50 enduro bike, and that was my first bike. Yeah. And then I kind of progressed from there. But since I grew up in kind of like a urban area, I kind of rode almost on tarmac. So the off-road for me was just a very occasional dirt bike riding, but I was more into speed. So I got into like fast bikes, like street bikes, the GSXR, CBR models in the 90s. So I used to ride that, and then I got back into the taller bikes because clearly those bikes are quite uncomfortable, especially when you're my height. So and then bought a Pegaso 650. I mean, that, you know, and then everything led to the perfect combination of street bike and enduro bike, which was the 1190 Adventure. Which is an incredible machine still. To me, I think is one of the best motorcycle ever made in the past 20 years. I've got fond memories of filming Chris Birch when they first came out, and that video is still very popular. And
that video, when he threw it around like a motocross bike,
it's just jaw-dropping, really. What he can do on a bike, huh?
Well, when you're in New Zealand, hopefully you'll catch up with him and he'll take you for a ride. He's a good guy, so that'd be great.
I met him in Canada because I was riding through when he was there for the Adventure Rally. So it was nice.
So your plans after New Zealand? What are you going to try to do if COVID doesn't disrupt everything?
If COVID doesn't disrupt things, I will probably try to accomplish what I was planning to do in 2020, which was to cross Asia on a bike. So I will get this bike shipped to Vladivostok. Or Japan, not sure yet, but from that extreme part of Asia, I will ride across Asia and reach Europe to Austria.
Yeah.
Matigofen.
As a quiet little hint, I'd love you to go to Japan, because the last guy that did an adventure film that I know of that included Japan in a round the world ride was Austin Vince, an English guy. I don't know if you know him, but yeah, he did some wonderful filming there, and he came out of, I think, either Magadan, I think it was Magadan, and went into Japan. But yeah, just a little pretty please. I'd like to see your view of Japan, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But that's a rare one, really.
Yeah, I've been willing to go to Japan. I'm really fascinated by the extreme cultures, and they're the extreme east. So I've been loving somehow what I know about their culture. Love their cuisine, love their art.
Yes.
Definitely, I'm gonna try to learn some Japanese. So, but I'm sure they have some amazing riding too.
So a couple of other international kind of adventure things to talk about. Language. How did you go with language to get what you needed?
Well, one of the advantages of being Italian is that it's all based on the Latin root. So we got that in common with Spanish, Portuguese, French, and a bunch of others. Yeah. But so when I went to South America, while I was in Australia, I tried to communicate with the locals. It was kind of hard, but I didn't manage to get by. And then when I went to South America, I had a very rough introduction to Spanish in Chile. They speak really fast, and they have their own way of speak Spanish, like here. Yes. But or like here with the English. But over there it was I tried to learn as quick as possible, and by the second month I was able to communicate pretty well. And then all the other countries they kind of speak Spanish, except Brazil, which I had to learn Portuguese. Yes. So since I spent 3 months there, the first month was kind of rough, but then I got into Portuguese as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Best food? Best country for food?
Ooh, I have to say it depends what you like, clearly, but I have to say probably Ecuador, Mexico.
Ah, right.
They have this kind of seafood there is just
spot on.
If you like seafood, I mean, here is pretty good too, but they have this ceviche thing, going on over there. It's, it's mouth watering.
You're getting all misty-eyed when you're saying that.
I just wondered, just zoomed out for a little bit. But yeah, they have a crazy good cuisine there. Yeah, there's a mix of traditions from the colonizer in a way, the Spanish, and then the locals. So they mix the two, and
that blending is good.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, and it's so cheap. So it's good for when you travel alone like this.
So 2 years from now, you've arrived back in Matigofen, but probably 2 years, 18 months?
Yeah, actually, probably a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be probably back in Europe in
So are you thinking
summer.
of the horizon then, or?
Yeah. There's already the next project, which is the last continent I've left, which is Africa.
Yeah.
And planning a full year. Hopefully I'll be able to circumnavigate that too. Yeah. Some countries I heard it's a bit complicated.
Tricky.
Yeah, especially on the West Coast. But people have done it before me, and I think I'll manage.
Yeah. Well, Paolo, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We wish you well.
Thank you.
Look forward to watching your travels through Australia and New Zealand. There's a great adventure riding community in the South Island of New Zealand that that can take you to some unbelievable places. And the same with Australia. We've got a very, adventure riders are a really tight community that looks after each other. So I'm sure if you want any pointers in terms of good tracks to take, there'll be people scrambling over the top of each other to give you a hand.
I'd be happy to
Paolo, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We'll catch up with Paolo after Christmas and go for a ride with him. During this interview, Paolo and I mentioned a KTM890 video I shot with Chris Birch a couple of years back. I've attached a link to that video and a playlist of other extreme videos that I've shot with Chris. They're worth a look.